Hi everyone, my name is Carr, and this is my racial autobiography for SOP 550. Uh, you can tell from my melanin that I'm black. I'm from East Palo Alto, California, which is a town in the Bay Area, just east from the 101 from Palo Alto, but very different cities. I grew up around a lot of unsavory characters, to say the least. A lot of gangs, drugs, violence. The home that I grew up next to, my next door neighbors were uh, drug addicts and drug dealers. On two separate occasions, I've been picked up by the SWAT section of our police department. First time was extremely scary. I was in elementary school, and we were, never really raised or taught to trust police or really to, like them or anything. So, they grabbed me and I was afraid. But they were raiding the house next door. Happened again a few years later. I could vaguely remember the trauma from the first time it happened, but nevertheless, it was still a scary experience. Um, it's similar to, well, I guess it is, the same town that the students from Dangerous Minds, if you're familiar with that film, is based off of, students from East Palo Alto. And my mom didn't want that for me. She didn't want me to go to horrible schools. So I was fortunate enough to be a part of what was called the TINS, or what is called the Tinsley program, where they bus students from East Palo Alto to Menlo Park and Palo Alto to receive a better education. And I was fortunate to go to Oakville. And I noticed immediately that, there was definitely a difference in wealth. For my entire schooling experience, I always, lined up to get lunch, and I didn't even know that that was like a program. I didn't know that that was for the quote unquote students, who were broke or didn't have money. And then I go to Oak Knoll, and these kids were, using $20 and $30 to buy their lunch, and I didn't have any money for an extra bag of chips. So that was definitely interesting for me. And I didn't see the point in going to school. I didn't grow up around professionals, and I grew up around very many people who graduated from high school, and they seemed to be doing okay. Um, they were selling drugs, so they were putting on the facade of having the money that they needed. And I can't say I didn't want that life. And because of that, I was not very connected to school. I was a horrible student up until I went to visit my high school that I ended up going to. It's called Eastside College Prep. Um, and I realized that there was some hope for me. I realized that I was able, and it was possible for this little black kid from the hood to go to college. And going to my after school programs, I realized that I had a lot of friends who did not know how to code switch. And I remember when I was a kid, I was helping a student, or a friend of mine, a friend of mine, with a paper. And his issue was he was writing his paper the way that we speak. And we don't speak as properly as you're supposed to write, and he didn't see the difference. And immediately I was upset, that no one ever taught him the difference. No one ever made made it a point for him to understand. And I knew that that was wrong, because I knew that I had benefited from, going to school less than 10 miles away. But because it was a much more affluent neighborhood, I mean, Bill Gates owns a home in the neighborhood that I was fortunate enough to go to school in. But because of that, he was much further behind than I was in terms of his ability. And when I was thinking about going to high school, I was supposed to go to Woodside High School and play football, where he talked to people there. And I was also thinking about going to Eastside, which was the new private high school in East Palo Alto that was free, but it was going to be extremely difficult. And I remember asking my resource teacher at the time if I should go to Eastside or if I should go to Woodside. And he asked me, I told him, I said, it's going to be difficult. And he told me that if I'm asking him if I should make the easy choice or do something that I think is going to be difficult, that I should always challenge myself. And I think that is when I started to take my education seriously, and really decided that I wanted to go to college, and I wanted to use education as a tool to create change in my hometown, and also in other places for the black and brown students that are growing up in similar situations as myself. And yeah, thanks.